Hey everybody, welcome back to the next episode in my Creating a Quick Great Tone series, where I take older videos that I did on certain topics and I condense them down into a much smaller, more manageable video to get through, and then I can point you to the old video if you are interested in diving in a little bit further. Today I'm going to talk about one of the simplest things we can do with our delay settings that will, in my opinion, really improve just about any delay, and that is the use of tap tempo and setting our delay time to a note sync rather than an absolute time value in milliseconds. So let's jump over to Helix Native and take a look. So here I am in Helix Native, and I've set up just a really basic little preset around the template that I normally use, and I've thrown in a Matchstick Channel 2 amp. I have the delay set quite dramatic with a mix of 50% for obvious reasons. I want you to hear what's actually going on with it in this video, but this preset sounds like this. All right, so very loud delay. That was done very much on purpose for demonstration purposes. I also have a little backing track I'm going to use to demonstrate this, which is a little backing track I put together for an upcoming Line 6 Marketplace release, but it worked really nicely to demonstrate this. So what's our choices here on our note sync? If we go over to this little clock, and this is going to be on any delay pretty much in the Helix, if we click this, we see it switches from time over to note sync. Now, what's the difference? Well, time is going to set our delay time in milliseconds, right? So 500 milliseconds would be like half a second. 1,000 milliseconds would be 1 second of delay time. The problem with that is it doesn't have any relationship to the music that we are using this delay with. Now, I'm not saying you should never use a time setting on this. There are certain situations where we can, but using a delay in kind of a typical way to just add a little bit of depth maybe to our lead playing, or to help our lead sound maybe sit in a mix as a couple examples, I almost never use the time setting. And the reason is we have to do some math basically to figure out the relationship of the millisecond setting that we have to the music. So an easy way around this is to simply switch this over to note sync. And now this will be set to whatever the tempo is up here where my cursor is in the top right-hand corner. So I'm set at 120 beats per minute. That is the tempo of my backing track, and I'm set for quarter note repeats. So if I hit a note, exactly 1/4 note later, I am going to get a repeated note, right? And I have my feedback set at 22%, thus the fact that you get, maybe 3 repeats, 1 strong one and a couple weaker ones. So basically, if we think about it, at 60 beats per minute, that would be 1 beat per second, right? At 120 beats per minute, that would be 2 beats per second. So this would basically be equivalent to having our time set to about 500 milliseconds. So if we know that and we set it at 500 milliseconds, it would be exactly the same as this. But this just gives us an easy way to dial in our delay times to our music, right? So, and we can do this by tap tempoing. Now, in this case, I'm not going to be using the tap tempo because I'm in my DAW and I'm set to 120, which is the exact tempo of this backing track. But if I was playing live, I can simply tap tempo that, and that's going to change, and it's going to automatically update that quarter note setting to whatever the appropriate number of milliseconds are going to be. Now, how does this all sound? Well, here's an example where I've purposely set this millisecond setting on the time setting to 634 milliseconds. It's somewhere around quarter notes at, I believe, 94 beats per minute, which isn't going to really gel nicely with this backing track. And I'll give you an example of it. I'll play the backing track, I'll noodle a little bit over top of it, and just sort of try to tune in. This is why I've turned the mix up so high. Try to tune into the sound of those repeats, kind of not exactly having a relationship to the music that maybe we would want. Now, obviously, it's going to have some sort of relationship, but does it turn into a dotted note or a triplet or whatever? We don't know. That's going to depend on the number of milliseconds we have it set at. But a lot of times, I like my delays to sit in the mix, being set to eighth notes, quarter notes, more kind of even divisions of the beat. So this is what this sounds like here as sort of what I would consider, a quote-unquote wrong setting. Although I'm the first to say there is no right and wrong as long as you're getting the results you want. So this is what this sounds like. Did Did you notice that? I actually find it difficult to play along with it because that delay is kind of bouncing around in a weird way against the music. So not something I would want. Let's try the same thing though by switching this over to the quarter note setting. Now it's going to be perfectly timed with the rhythm of the backing track. Did you hear the difference? I think it's quite dramatic. It's a huge difference, and I could actually play better because of that, and I think the delay sounds so much better. Let me give you another quick example going back and forth. And we hear it quite clearly there. So that's one of the most important tips I could give anybody for using delay, and also one of the simplest to implement. I see so many people, and I get a lot of questions about it. They'll say, I always set my delay to 384 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds or whatever, and it might work for them. But, I think by diving in and actually trying to tailor that tempo sync to the music we're playing, in the vast majority of situations, I think that will give us better results. Having said that, there is no right and wrong, like I mentioned before. If you have it set to milliseconds and it's doing exactly what you want and it sounds the way you want, then who am I to tell you to change that? You absolutely shouldn't. But this is hopefully just a bit of an eye-opener for those who weren't aware that this was either a possibility or never really gave much thought to, setting their delay to note sync and having it sync to the music. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll put the link below to the longer, more in-depth video I did about this. You can go give that a view. So thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope that was helpful, and I hope that maybe helps you to get better results out of your delays in your presets in the future. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would enjoy it or get some use out of it. And please subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification to get notified when I put new content out. I will be back really soon with some more. Thanks again for tuning in. Ciao for now.